Hi everyone and welcome to another video. I'm Noran Makar. So this year I gave myself quite a couple of reading goals, reading guidelines, reading rules, and one of you asked how I deal with all of them and how I take them into account. And that is what this video is going to be about. I'm quite lucky in the fact that setting monthly TBRs work quite well for me. So for those of you who don't know, a monthly TBR would be a stack of books or a book that you have decided that you will read that month. I didn't used to think of myself in month increments, but somehow setting a kind of deadline and then just knowing how many books I read in that period of time and choosing them beforehand has been working very well because it's been liberating, as I don't have to think about the books that I want to read because I already have decided what it's going to be in the next period. Anyway, so I'm going to, in order to tell you about how I deal with all of my guidelines, just pick my TBR for February. So first of all, a recap of the things that I plan on doing. So if you want to learn more about all of these rules, I'll link the video that I made about all of them up here somewhere. So we have one reread a month, one classic a month, 15 to 20% French, 50% authors of color, one German book in 2021, 4 gender non-conforming authors in 2021, no translated books unless I could have read the original, and maximum of 10 books a month. So what I'm doing now in order to set my TBR is, first of all, I'm writing it down in my bullet journal. I haven't been using it a lot in 2020, but I've been doing it again and it works well. So let me show you what I did for January. This is how I write down my TBR because I forget the books that I don't actually have in physical copies, so this works very well. First of all, I make up 10 of these books so I can then fill in what they are. I write down the title of the books, and underneath I write down what category they fulfill, because otherwise I just tend to forget. So let's start with that. I'm just going to make the outline of the books with the pen that I believe I took with me, but now obviously can't find. There it is. There we go. At least I hope you saw that. So those are my 10 options. First, I'm going to look at books that I have planned on reading in January and probably will not finish. And I have been reading Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram x Kendi. This is non-fiction about racism in the US, and I am only about half of the way through. Well, all of these are notes. But yeah, this is slow going, so I'll definitely still be reading that one in January. So that is going to be the first one. And I write down authors of color. I mark that with a little star so I know that there are half of them. So that is Stamped from the Beginning. I also had marked down I wanted to read the Makioka sisters, but it arrived pretty late. So this is one of the books that I'm reading for the Invisible Cities project. And I'm right now going to keep it on the stack of things that I want to read, but I have to look first of the other plans because this is quite a big book. And that is all of the books that I have written down that I think I won't be able to finish. Then we have very easily the books for my Invisible Cities project. So quick recap, there are 3 countries that are chosen every month, and the idea is to, on the bookish side, read, if you want, 1 book per country. The countries are Colombia, from which I will be reading Love in Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And I hate myself for having the Dutch version, but I found this one at a free library, so I'm going to be reading this one. I would have preferred to read it in French. Then we have China. I'm going to read The Last Quarter of the Moon by Chi Zijian. Forgotten what it is about, but the cover is gorgeous, so that counts. And the last country is Egypt, for which I'm going to be listening to Palace Walk, which is the first volume of the Cairo trilogy, and that has been written by, let me check, Naguib Mahfouz. So let me first write down all of those in my TBR list and look up the other information that I'm interested in to see if there are any other categories that I fulfill. Okay, so this is where we're at. I have 4 of the 10. Not counting the Makioka sisters, so you already have the these three and Palace Walk. I also have plans of reading the last volume of the Narnia series with my reread with Pauline from Dancing Alone, so I'm writing that one in. And I am also planning on reading L'Assommoir by Emile Zola, and I'm going to be reading this one with my mother, which I am equally excited for and scared. So let's put in those two. And both are written in French. Well, the copies that I have are in French. Emile Zola is a classic, and I need for my French goal to read 2 to 3 French written books per month. So this is going well. I need to mark that down. I should do that with little flags. And L'Assommoir is a classic, and now come to think of it, Love at Time of Cholera is also a classic, so that is good. Okay, I'm at 6. Now I also have 3 books that I still have out from the library. First we have 2 fiction books. One is The Petal of the Sea by Isabel Allende. I have kind of started this one a little bit, but didn't really have time for it. But this is partly set in Chile, and I do think we're also going to go to Chile at one point. But I still also kind of want to read it before I have to give it back, although there's lockdown, so who knows when I'll have to give it back. And I also have De Rook die Dondert, which in Old Drift by Namwel, and this one is set, it's historical fiction and family drama in Zambia, yeah. But it's also quite big, and that's the reason I'm not sure I should put it on my list now. And then we also have a non-fiction book, which is The Corporate Tribe, although I've been loving this. This is about, this is Dutch, and it is by Danielle, Braun and Jitse Kramer, and it's using lessons from anthropology to look at companies, and it is fascinating. I love this kind of stuff, using lessons we have learned from looking at culture in general to then look at culture in companies and see then how you can change things in respect of how a company is working. So I have ordered this yesterday because this is one of the books I also want to be able to go back to. So although this is a library book, and initially I thought I need to read it quickly, because I'm going to have to give it back. If I'm going to own it, it's going to be fine. Does that mean I should actively read it next month? Don't know yet. So we have those options, Makioka Sisters option as well, and also, so I took this one also already for my TBR, The White Tiger by Aravind Adiga. There is a movie that has come out or is coming out that I would want to watch, and I've had this one on my mind for a while, so maybe I'll get to this one. Yes, I'm going to definitely put The White Tiger on the list. And now I think about it, I also have to actively think of the audiobooks, because as they're not physical, I forget I want to read them. And I have been listening to the Devabad trilogy by S. Chakraborty, and I think I'm going to be finishing the 2nd book this month. So that means I'll be reading the 3rd book next month, so in February. And Palace Walk is about 20 hours, and I think the last Devabad will also be somewhere around the 15 hours at least, so I think I won't have time for any other audiobooks than those 2. But at least I can add The White Tiger and, what's the 3rd one's name? City of Gold? Something like that. Let me see, The White Tiger. The last one is called The Empire of Gold. The author of The White Tiger, Aravind Adiga, is an author of color. Empire of Gold, not. And I have also got my book club book pick, which I should count as books I need to read, want to read. And this one is going to be Bel Canto by Ann Pratchett, so I should add that one as well. This list is a bit big. Bel Canto. And I'm afraid if you look at the whole thing, that means I'm already at 9 books. And some are quite big. I mean, Stamp from the Beginning is going to take me at least another couple of weeks. Love in Time of Cholera is also not small, so that was also going to take me at least a week. Assommoir is not tiny, so I think adding the Makioka sisters to my list is not smart. So I really want to read this as quickly as possible, but I don't think it's realistic, so I'm gonna have to put you back on the shelf and see you later, alligator. Do you fit here? Oh, yes, you fit there. Good. But then I have still these two, because I think I can shove the Corporate Tribe. I can smear that out and kind of not put it on my TBR, but still secretly read it, and yeah, that's gonna work. So I think I'm gonna put this one on the list, The Petal of the Sea by Isabel Allende, of which I have the Dutch version. Although, come to think of it, I now have one spare, and I remember maybe I should keep the spare and not officially put in this one now, just in case something else comes up, because I also vaguely remember I might have plans with a friend to read a book. So maybe that should be that space. So there are, wait, let me hold them up. We have these, we have these, we have these, and 2 audiobooks. And that is going to be it. Are there any other rules that I haven't thought of? So I should somewhere this month or next month still read something by a non-gender conforming author, but as you can see, that is not working this month. So I really need to prioritize it next month. Or maybe what I should do is, because I want to read 4 in the year, to do a month where I really focus on it, because then I'll get more in the group. Anyway, if that made sense. I forgot to say I need a reread, but that is the last battle. This is what my TBR now looks like in my bullet journal. I will see you guys in the next video. If you have any question, or if you have other ways of doing it, I love to hear. Bye!